We're not here for therapy.
No, we're not here for therapy. No therapy for us today. Got this new game called Snake. It's brilliant. You know, it's after That was going to get a bit deep, wasn't it?
That was, yeah. Let's
move on. I keep looking up to random members going, is it you? They look at me like... Roll on the summer. That's all I can say. I am absolutely frozen.
Tell me why, when I woke up this morning, my phone had snow warning again.
Did it? I was going to say,
tonight,
had
6
frost
o'clock.
on it or something.
Snow warning.
Tonight?
Snow.
Oh gosh, I'm playing bowls tonight.
Not outdoors, I hope.
No, not outdoors at this time of year.
Gosh, I was going to say.
No, indoors. That blooming person that keeps on haunting me on the lives.
Don't put it.
Charlie
what is it?
Biggins, what his name
Don't
is.
put the jack in the dick.
Yes. The jack's the little ball. You bowl it off first of all, then you bowl the big bowls up to it.
Oh, I
If
see.
you bowl it too hard, which is really easy to do because it's stretched carpet.
It goes into the ditch.
It goes to the ditch.
And you out?
No, the opposition take over the bowling of the jack, which obviously gives them advantage.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So someone's obviously seen me. It's really annoying.
You'll never know.
I keep looking up to random members going, is it you? They look at me like... Well, I can see it in the average age.
Exactly. Who has TikTok?
I think half of them only just discovered CFAX, quite frankly. Got the Celtic Spectrum. It's ahead of its time. Got this new game called Snake. It's brilliant. You know, it's after members. It's like, so yeah, well, someone's haunting me. So whoever it is, really well done for pissing me off. Well, not pissing me off. It's just annoying. You know, I'm like, I don't like incomplete things. I don't like uncertainty in my life.
Bless you.
Bless me, indeed.
Aren't you?
I am actually.
Yeah, no.
Sometimes. And certain things.
Right, what do we want to talk about?
That was going to get a
week?
bit deep, wasn't it?
That was, yeah. Let's
move on.
We're not here for therapy.
No, we're not here for therapy. No therapy for us today.
Quite controversial, our topic today, isn't it?
Yeah, we said we've had a week to think about it. Not that I've had much time to think about it.
No. In fact, I haven't thought
about it at all. No. Let's give it a ponder before we come back.
Examiner marking consistency.
Mm.
Do you know, this week actually, funny enough, on that topic, I was reading a discussion on how previously most examiners were ex-driving instructors.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So they would...
Used to be.
They would have a lot more empathy for the students and how they're feeling and what they've been through.
Yeah. And can tell if they can drive or not.
And
a little bit of leeway.
This is the thing. You used to be able to at the end of the test, a bit more discretion, wasn't it? Where you might get a little bit of a bollocking, but they know you could drive. They'll still pass you, but with a telling off. Nowadays,
what do you hit the blind spots for when you move off?
Yeah. Nowadays it's all new, fresh meat, isn't it? But then we are finding less consistency.
And the other thing as well,
in the marking.
Now I'm probably wrong, but anecdotally, a lot of driving instructors, why do they become driving examiners? Because they've been teaching for 20 years. And if I become a driving, I'm no longer self-employed. I'm running down the clock.
Yeah.
I get 30 or God plus days holiday, final pension scheme, start at 9, finish at 2.
Exactly.
Nice work condition, and the compromise of that, pension, all the rest of it, holiday, sick, all those perks. And the flip side of that is, the salary's a lot less
take a drop,
from there. But I'm okay. I'm happy as that.
If you're going to start to think about lowering your hours anyway, wouldn't you?
All the good terms have gone now. The new ones are contracted to work 7 days a week.
Yes.
Final salary schemes have got a thing of the past for any new starters. The wage is ridiculous. For what you do. It just treats us as a civil servant on this level with this amount of because you've got no answering in to anyone. You're this grade.
Yeah.
So it's quite a low grade.
Yeah.
Okay, you get increments, but you have to wait years to get the increments. And why would anyone?
And
no disrespect to anyone, you're not getting the experience of someone who's taught for 15, 20 years or so.
Yeah.
And again, no names. Do you notice any difference in the marking of someone who we know who was a driving instructor? We know examiners who came straight in it from some another business. Can you see a difference in the marking? I think you can. You've got to be very careful how you say this.
Yeah,
about casting aspersions.
Exactly. Because as well, we haven't been in an examiner's seat. We haven't experienced that. But I would say that I find that the new examiners mark down more things than I think a more experienced person.
Yeah, and see, the other thing, for example, let's say you're coming up the test centre and the candidate straightens the first roundabout a bit too much.
Yeah.
I tend to find that it's marked now, whereas in the past, and that when it was pen and paper as well, because once it's in.
That's done. Yeah.
It's done. Now I used to find when it was the pen and paper thing, it would go. An experienced examiner would go, I'll retro mark it depending. Let's see how the next few roundabouts go.
Yeah.
And we'll just call it a driver error.
Yeah. But now it is like you say, it's marked at the time, isn't it?
I think once it goes in, I'm not sure if there's a Control X button to sort of undo.
Although I do actually think that, having said that, I have noticed a couple of the more experienced examiners holding out for putting faults in.
Yeah.
They don't do it at the time. They're
very good at remembering anyway, and doing it when it's more safer to start. When I do a mock test, looking down that there, trying to find the right place to put it. You want to be. So it's just happened in the hazard. It's more likely to be when they've done the hazard. You're more likely to be paying attention. So that might be that anyway.
Just on that note of remembering, because when I done my motorbike test, obviously he's not marking me as I go along, so I was out riding for 40 minutes. We got back and he debriefed me about the whole thing, remembering the faults where they were.
Yeah, I could do that though. I do a mock test. I could do that. I don't need a marking sheet.
Yeah, because you just think back to what's happened.
I have a marking sheet just because.
It's good to write things down, and then they
can see it. Get used to scribbling going. I'm half time doing a shopping list or something down there, or something. Or coming up with an idea for a video. Or now that's like the examiner itself, but even the experienced examiners, I tend to find is like if you get examiner B, for example, it's like. They got a real niggly thing like not making progress on the country road, or examiner C is really trying to about undertaking, and their definition of undertaking changes, or the other one, the classic one, is following distance. If someone's how long they leave it for
before it's marked. Exactly, and that is then coming down to opinion, isn't it?
Well, it's got to, because it all depends on the situation.
Yeah,
and it is down to opinion. What does reasonably close mean? What does
It's got to be how the examiner, how it makes the examiner feel for a lot of it, I think.
Yeah. Well, there is a lot of that. I suppose generally you get a vibe of someone's driving. If someone comes to you for a driving assessment, do you need 2 hours to work out if someone can drive? How long does it take you to work it out?
Exactly.
Junction?
In the first 10 minutes,
I'd say one junction.
Yeah.
Even before they set off, how they set the car up, what they've done.
Yeah.
You can tell if they've been trained or not straight away. And half the time you can look at someone and go, I can guarantee what the faults are going to be.
Yeah.
You can almost write it down like a...
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's a thought. When are you going to change your car? How long do you keep your car for? Do you buy it? Do you lease it? Do you buy second hand? Never lease.
Never lease.
No, I did
I
once.
always want to
regretted
own everything. I'm always in this predicament of, do I run my car until it's death? Or do I...
There's an optics thing, isn't there? If your car lasted for another 10 years, you turned up in like 2030, turned up in a...
Well, it wouldn't last that long, would it? I've had my car for, 2 years now, I think, and I'm over 100,000 miles. That's from new.
Yeah. What am I? Gosh, that's a point. My car is 1 year, 5 months old.
1 year, 5 months.
Risk of black eyes. See?
Oh.
That's good. Thanks for that.
Where does it come up? No, the miles.
Oh, it should come up in a minute. It's just telling me about black ice. Okay, there we go.
Oh, there.
46,000 miles.
46,000.
So that's basically 30,000 a year, isn't it? 32,000 a year.
I thought you'd done more than that.
Well, do a lot of manoeuvres these days.
Although, actually, then I think I travel.
I have very, very compact travel times between my lessons.
Not really, but I do. But I think I use mine a lot more for personal use than you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we got 3 cars.
Yeah.
So you're right, possibly. So that is all business mileage on
That is
there,
all business
every single
mileage,
one.
yeah.
Don't use it for anything else. No. Yeah, the thing is, I used to. Then I had one bad car. Buy a car that's like 2-3 years old, and it'd be about half the price of a brand new car on low mileage.
Exactly. That's what I done with mine.
Yeah.
Mine was
And it
literally
worked out
like
well.
a year
And
old.
it's a gamble.
Oh yeah. But it'd only done a few thousand miles.
Yeah.
But you think, rather than buying it off the forecourt, I'd probably save myself about £3,000.
Well, first car I bought off the person that trained me to drive.
Yeah.
My little DS3. I've had it since. Then what did I have? Gosh. Oh, then I leased the Air3 Citroen Aircross, which worked out okay. It's the stress though. Every time you hit a curve, oh my god, that's cost me 200.
Or you've gone over the mileage.
Oh, mileage. So I put high mileage on it on that one. I had 45,000 miles on that, which affects the price big time. Oh, that's exciting.
That is exciting.
This is a saga. Here we go.
Hello. Yes, I did ask them if it was going to be any earlier, possibly. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. I'll be on my way.
Right, so that's exciting news.
Oh, thank God for that.
Let's go and get your car fixed. Not quite the roadside ramble, but this is what happens. That's why it's not planned.
It's Richard and Rebecca's Roadside Ramblings, chatting about their week and all the driving happenings, from roundabouts to mirrors. They've got the know-how, a drive school of motoring. Let's go right now.